Hebrew opening will be followed by an episode entirely in English. שלום, שלום, כאן דבי קצב, בפרק נוסף בפודקאסט המתקצבת, שבו אני מסבירה בשפה מובנת עניינים שונים הנוגעים לכיס הפרטי שלנו ולניהול וסדר במידע, נותנת דוגמאות, טיפים והמלצות, ומביעה את הדעות שלי כשצריך. הכל במטרה לעזור בניהול חיים מאורגנים וטובים יותר, גם מבחינה כלכלית, בדגש על עצות שימושיות ופרקטיות וקצת מוטיבציה לנשמה. הפרק הנוכחי שונה מהפרקים עד כה כי הוא לא בעברית אלא באנגלית, וזאת מכיוון שהאורחת בפרק היא אחותי נירית, שעל אף שמה הישראלי גרה רוב חייה בחול, והיא דוברת אנגלית בעיקר, אך גם בין היתר. אז תישארו איתי כאן, מבטיחה לכם פרק כיפי וקליל, ושאחרי כמה שניות תתרגלו למבטא הדרום אפריקאי לייט של שתינו, אז האזנה נעימה. Hi everybody, this is Debbie Katzev here, and this is my very first podcast episode of my podcast in English. My podcast is called HaMetakzevet in Hebrew, which means the budgeter, and it's a play on words on my last name in Hebrew, Katzev, Debbie Katzev. Katzev is from the... has like a meaning of budget in a way. So that's why this is my brand, The Budgeter. And that's how my podcast is also called The Budgeter. And the reason that this episode is in English, it's because I have a very, very special guest today. Somebody who came specifically to record the podcast all the way from London. No, I'm kidding. Not specifically for that. We'll explain in a minute. It's my very own sister, 9 years younger than me. Her name is Nirit. And I'll introduce her, but I'm also going to let her introduce herself in a minute. She is a mother of 3 wonderful kids. She's been living in London, correct me if I'm wrong, for the last 5 years. And we prefer to record this episode face-to-face. We could have done it online, but we thought because she was coming to visit anyway, said let's grab this opportunity and do this properly in person. And it's much nicer and it's a better conversation, even though there are fantastic technologies to do this online as well. And another thing which I want to say, which is obviously important because this is the first episode in English, as I said, to explain a little bit that my podcast is, I've recorded over 30 episodes so far, they're all in Hebrew. And the podcast is all about clever ways to deal with your money. I normally interview people that have that professions are related in one way or another to money, but I do it in a very different way. Hopefully one day I'll do everything. I'll have another podcast all in English and I'll do very similar ways. I don't explain now all sorts of terminologies and things have to do with finance. I explain things in a different way from a very, very hands-on perspective, and not just finance, also personal information management, also things to do with small businesses, tips for conducting your business better in terms of systems and organizations, a bit of marketing, how to use technology better for your business and also for handling and managing your finances, all those kind of things. And in a minute, you'll see how we also, this episode also will have something to do with money. So, for the past 18 years, Nirit, you've been living in Paris and then London. I think 13 years in Paris. And then 5 years in London, right? Am I correct?
Firstly, this is so weird.
Because we're sisters.
Because we're sisters. My
Yes.
big sister, here we are, you're interviewing me. I think if anybody in this world knows me best, it's you. Yes. So, yeah, I'm going to put the weirdness aside and I'm very happy to be here.
Yes. Oh, this is your British accent coming
Exactly.
out. Yes. Nirit Sumeruk-Abbou.
Exactly.
Right.
Nice mouthful, that one. A name you can't forget.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you are Paris Popcorn on Instagram. Obviously, we're going to have all that in the notes.
Yes, I'm
Okay.
Paris Popcorn. So, yeah, I have lived in France for 11 years because I married a Frenchman, and that was back in 2005, 2006, I think.
That you moved there.
Then I moved there, yes. And then moved to London in 2017. So it's going to be 5 years very soon.
Before that, you lived in Israel for a couple of years, and before that, South Africa.
Yes.
Because not many of my listeners, my Hebrew-speaking listeners know this maybe, although it's written in many places, and I spoke about it in an episode about me. We grew up in South Africa. That was many years ago for me because I left quite a while ago. I think 25 years ago already that I've been in Israel. But we grew up there. You stayed longer than me, obviously.
20 years.
You lived for 20 years. I lived there for 13 years, but very formative years because I finished school there and university, and I did university there. And my first few years of in the business world, in the working world, were in South Africa. And you basically did the whole schooling and tertiary education and everything.
All of it.
Yeah. So
in
basically,
English and Afrikaans.
Oh, yeah. So I don't speak Afrikaans, but our language of choice between us siblings, and there's the four of us, is English. Although we do add the occasional Spanish and Hebrew words to the mix, and we all understand everything, so nobody even pays attention to what language we're talking. People from the outside, like, they pause always and say, "Huh? What was that? What language are you talking now?" Yeah. Okay. Anyway, let's get back to the business of this episode. So, because of the nature of your past work, you were in PR, you worked for MTV and such like, and also because of the nature of your hobbies, as well as your husband's work, you move in certain circles. Okay, and also the environment in which you lived in Paris and that you live in England. You move in certain social circles, I'll say it politely. So you seem to have perfected the art of always looking great, but effortless. Photographing yourself and others actually really, really well. But I know, as your sister and your close friend, that you don't spend a lot to achieve this appearance, okay? And we all know that Instagram is not, that the reality behind Instagram is different to what it looks like. But in your case, you really managed to look really great and do it quite effortlessly. And this is actually what I'd like to talk to you about. And I know that you have some tips and hacks and secrets which you'll reveal today in a special episode. And I must say that even me in my, I'm 9 years older, okay, and I should be wiser, but I'm not when it comes to, for example, choosing clothing items. I often consult with you before I buy anything. I need to do this more because normally I make mistakes. So next time, we're going to have to, next time I buy clothing, either I have to come to you have to come to me because I hardly buy anything on my own. But even when I do, there's always WhatsApp, and I can show you what I'm buying, and you can tell me yes or no, because I normally end up buying things that are wrong. Anyway, so I'm sure that a lot of other of our listeners will greatly benefit from your tips. And first, I would like to start, before you start with your tips. I think we mentioned the South Africa South Africa that we grew up in, and I think I have an inkling that this your philosophy, or that of I can do this socializing thing without spending lots of money on clothes and accessories and all that. I think it came from our upbringing in South Africa.
Oh, definitely. So, as we said, I spent most of my childhood in South Africa, and when I moved to France, to Paris, I came across, for the first time in my life, incredibly stylish looking people, and I was completely mesmerized by this world. And I decided to almost observe it from a journalistic perspective, and I would just start attending lots of events, anything from like parties to art gallery launches, fashion shows, whatever I could get tickets to. And I would photograph the way people dressed, and started studying, studying on my own, that is, like street style. I would, discovered brands that obviously most people who grew up in Paris know about, but like Chanel and Dior and Givenchy and Gucci and what have you. It all came as this new world for me, and learning about these houses, these fashion houses, and everything that they created, from accessories to, obviously clothing, pret-a-porter, haute couture.
They existed in South Africa, but were very, very expensive.
Very expensive, but not really that.
It wasn't very common to find them.
It wasn't common at all. And remember, we were in South Africa. This is like we're talking in the 90s.
Yeah.
So social media had not existed yet. So you really had to search for this in magazines. So,
and you moved to Paris in 2005. It was even before Facebook, not to mention Instagram.
Exactly.
So it was like you could only really see it in journals, in magazines.
So I was like standing at all these events with my eyes, really big,
coming out of the sockets.
Absolutely. My jaw hanging wide open, thinking, wow, look at all this style. And
hold on a second. I want to mention that you did, when you were at school and all that, you were an art major, right? At school, you studied art, and afterwards you studied PR. So you had like you have it in you.
I have it in me.
Unlike me, I'm so not artistic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah, no, I did. I studied art. I studied history of art and also graphic design art in high school, and then university I studied public relations, and my first job was at MTV Networks in London on a 2-year work visa, and I landed up working with MTV for about 6 years, doing different projects.
Also in Israel.
Yeah, on a freelance basis, and in Israel as well. In South Africa, I did lots of concerts with a lot of celebrities, and so I've always been around this world of
high fashion.
It's not just high fashion, but things that make you turn your head.
Celebs.
Yeah, things that make people turn their heads and makes paparazzi want to photograph. That person looks different from everybody else. And so I've always been kind of on the sidelines observing all of this. Mm-hmm. And then once I moved to Paris, I enjoyed being part of that world, mostly because we lived in the center of Paris, and my mother-in-law herself is very into fashion, and she was a big influence as well. We'd go shopping together, and she introduced me to her favorite brands like Sonia Rykiel and obviously Chanel, and later on the Karl Lagerfeld brand. And yeah, so I would take all of that, and
then the price tag.
Then there would be the price tag. Okay. Now, let's say I'm not going to shy away from, wanting to own some accessories or some pieces. I think.
And you do.
And I do. And I love it. And I think every woman should own a couple of nice pieces, mostly because it's a classic. They last long.
And it's really good quality.
Good quality. And they make you look and feel good and great. So that's something I'm really, really appreciative of. But at the same time, I'm not somebody who's going to splash out on it. It's not something that's super.
So again, we're going back to your South African upbringing.
It's because in my head, I feel like when I see the price tag of a certain handbag, in my head, I convert and I'm like, wow, I could probably feed an entire village with this handbag. And that kind of stops me from wanting to have too much, So I have, I own luxury, but in moderation.
And I think that's why also you developed all these tricks to look really great without splurging.
Exactly.
And this is what all of us want to hear, girl.
Well, thank you for saying that. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Though, it's hard. I have to say, I definitely a style appreciator. I love nothing more than seeing really, really well-dressed people just walking down the streets or just going out for coffee. I think people that put in an effort in the way they look, it's something I really...
It describes me.
It's just, I find it's art. For me, it's art. And I absolutely love it. As shallow as it sounds, I also love hanging around people that like to look good because it's a form
And it doesn't always come with shallowness in other areas as well, like conversation-wise and interests.
No, not necessarily. Again, it's the kind of circles you hang out with and who you want to be friends with. Obviously, I'm not going to choose to be friends with somebody just on the way they look.
I hope so. Or dress, yes.
But what I'm saying is... it's just something I really appreciate when people have a little,
especially like if it's effortless.
Exactly, effortless. And then obviously there's some that really, really go all out, that you can see they've probably spent the entire afternoon getting ready, especially when you go to like fashion weeks and stuff. That's not me. I cannot do that. I will just generally slap on something but
you'll still look fantastic.
Thank you.
Tell us how you do it.
Okay, so basically I also believe it's not so much what you wear, it's how you wear it and feeling confident. When I go to events, I will get dressed up the best way that I can, and I generally like to just feel good. I'll walk into a room with fresh energy. I'm generally always very excited when I go into
you have a smile on your face.
Yeah, so it's something that people I think appreciate, and that kind of like overtakes what you're wearing. As I said, I don't...
But that's a personality thing. It's not easy to change one's personality to be like that. I mean, yes, we can all put on a nice smile, but not everybody has that, like...
Inner charm.
No, you're positive. You're a very positive person, from whenever you were born, like from when you were born. Okay, you're always very funny and very smiley and very nice and very. Everybody loves you, and so. I want to also, like, for people like me, like, what do I do? Like, when I need now to buy a pair of pants, okay?
Yes.
And I don't want to spend a lot of money, and I can't shop online, by the way. It's like, I can't. I need to try things on. Like, how can I go and choose something that I'm not going to regret afterwards, and also not spend, like, going from store to store to store to store, which I hate, and trying on things I can give up after 3 items in the first store.
Okay, let's take today's example, a little shopping spree for your birthday.
Yeah. We're not going to talk about that.
We're not going to talk about that, but we did go on a shopping spree and we bought you a couple of tops. Now, the advice I gave you was buy something neutral.
But that's my whole wardrobe is neutral because of that. And I feel that I'm lacking color.
Okay, so when I refer to something neutral, I refer to stay away from prints.
Yes, that's right.
I think prints are fantastic if you can carry that off, if you've got a really big wardrobe, if you are fearless, if you've got fearless in terms of fashion. I, for one, will wear very little prints just because... I don't have a lot of time to get ready. I've got 3 kids. I'm running around most of the time. So I like to just throw on a couple of different pieces. So I know if I'm wearing a pair of blue jeans, I might wear a white t-shirt and a little green blazer with it and a pair of moccasins shoes. I'm saying a lot of I am sorry. So
that's your first episode.
It's my first podcast ever.
That's okay.
And I know that probably the colors are very way too neutral. So I will add a couple of bling bling earrings, accessories, or I'll wear a red handbag to make it pop a little bit. That kind of look.
You'll wear a handbag or carry one?
I will carry a handbag.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So
what about the pair of denims that I need to buy now? Okay, how do I go about not spending too much time? Obviously, not spending a lot of money. I can't even remember the last time I bought a pair of denims.
Okay, firstly, you have to know your body type. And as silly as it sounds, I think a lot of people don't know their body type and what actually looks good on them. When I recently went to buy a pair of jeans, I tried on a couple. I tried on the skinny legs, the wide legs, the bell bottoms, the high waist, the low waist.
Oh God, didn't you want to run away after the second one?
It was exhausting. But I do have to say, I'm always in the search of that really good cut. And once you find your style of jeans that make you look and feel good, it's something that you just generally stick to.
Or you can just stick to that one pair that you buy, hoping that you don't put on too much weight or lose too much weight. Or maybe yes, but then you have to get another pair of pants, but that you can actually run with them for years. I have denim jeans that don't fit me, but I have from like 20 years ago. They're still here in my cupboard.
Shh.
In the hope that I'll get back to my pre-pregnancy figure one day.
Yes.
I'm working on it.
We all are.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So as I said, you got to know your body type. When you buy tops like the ones we bought today, you bought, it was was it satin?
Linen.
Linen, excuse me. It was linen button-up. When you wore it hanging out. And then I said to you, try tucking it in just a little bit in the front, leave the buttons open, and hang a nice long necklace that hangs just by the cleavage,
yes,
to make it look a little bit more sparkly, a little sexy, that mum jeans kind of effortless look. And it really changed the look from just simply tucking a shirt in. Those are little tips and tricks.
And a belt.
And a belt. Yeah. And necklaces. I absolutely love necklaces. Can really, really make an outfit. And for me personally is a pair of sunglasses. I will always carry a pair of sunglasses in my handbag.
Even in grey London?
Even in grey London, because I feel no matter what you're wearing, if you just happen to have a last minute coffee date and you're out and about, throw in a pair of sunglasses and you really... your outfit is kind of complete, especially really big ones, standout ones.
And you gave an amazing tip today. We don't have to mention the name of the store, but you bought a whole lot of sunglasses for £4 each.
Yes.
In one of those
kind of like
I'm
cheap
not gonna say,
home decorating stores.
Yeah. And they're everywhere. I think it's like from Denmark.
Yes.
I'm not going to say more than that. Yes. And
so this is my new thing. As I said, I absolutely love having good quality glasses. I own a lot of Chanel sunglasses, but now I kind of stopped buying just because I feel like I lose them or they
break.
So over the last year or two, I started buying sunglasses from this chain. Literally each pair costs £4. And they are beautiful. They are UV certified. And I bought a whole bunch of those, carried them right through the summer. I think for 2 summers I wore them. I got so many compliments on these glasses.
And even if you lose them or break them, you have another one and you don't feel bad that, oh my God, now I lost a pair of £1,000.
Exactly. And I have to say, the effect a good pair of sunglasses can make on your look is incredible.
So in other words, what I'm hearing so far is you have to be on the lookout for things like that, because if you hadn't told me, I would never have thought of doing that. Okay, of going to that type of store and looking for sunglasses because it's more like knickknacks for home and for little pieces of decor items. I would never have thought.
Because you want that small piece of like not very expensive sunglass that you can actually squeeze into your purse.
But I would have thought of buying it there, that I would find cheap and good ones over there. So I'm saying you have to be with your eyes open. I don't know, is it Instagram? How do you know about it? Or just a friend told you in this particular case?
In this particular case, I do have to say I have a couple of girlfriends that I absolutely adore their style in terms of their accessories.
In London?
In London. Often after when we drop off our kids, we have a long walk home and we walk down Oxford Street, which is a very busy street full of shops, and most of the time we just window shop, but there'll be moments where we'll just browse into a store quickly, and the way their eye picks up objects just fascinates me. And I
don't have that.
I have told that to them many times that I love shopping with them. It's actually, for me, it's therapeutic because...
Retail therapy?
It's retail therapy, but also the way they see things. And I learn from them. I learn from my friends. I learn also from Instagram.
And I think they learn from you as well.
But I hope so. I think if anything, we always have a really, really good laugh. And another tip I want to share with you is, besides obviously knowing your body type and taking that time to go into a store, into that change room and take 5 different pairs of jeans with you.
Like a good friend or sister to do this with, because I think
I have a very good friend.
Very difficult to do this on your own.
I actually have a very good friend. She is based in New York. She's a stylist. Her name is Sandy, and I would either photograph myself and text her, SMS her.
Don't try asking me.
No. And I would send her a photograph and I'd say, is this a yes or a no? Or we'd even go on WhatsApp, just depends on the time difference. And she almost always gives me the perfect advice. So my other little tip is use social media. Look through Instagram and find people that are stylists or people who are fashion lovers, they love to give tips on how to dress for different occasions
without spending a lot of money. Because this episode is about being a budget-conscious socialite.
Exactly. But this is not about buying. It's about seeing their style. So I have a couple that...
Even using, like you meant, shopping in your own wardrobe?
Shopping in my own wardrobe, absolutely.
Combining things that you wouldn't have thought of combining.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. Because sometimes it's really hard to take inspiration from celebrities.
Yeah, because they have all the money and
Either
they get a lot of items for free.
Or often I don't necessarily feel like I am very attracted to following celebrities that I don't look anything like them, who are much taller or skinnier or any other way. That I want to follow somebody
real people
that I know that look a little bit like me, who are more petite, have, a brunette, and
I'm not petite. You are, but we're still sisters.
You got the height.
Yes, I got the height.
I'll stop right there.
And the hair.
Yeah, I'll stop there.
And stop there.
Yes. And so those are the ladies I like to follow. They're based all over the world, and a couple of times a week I'll browse through their Instagram pages and get inspired. They give me tips, for example, on how they style for school pickup, school drop off.
You need to style for that?
Of course. I live in central London.
8 o'clock in the morning.
8 o'clock
when do you have time to style?
Well,
oh my God, here... we take the kids to school when my kids were small. Obviously, they're much bigger now. They go on their own. But in my pajamas, literally, or a tracksuit,
Look, I'm not going to lie. There's often times where I am practically in my pajamas. But this is London. So just throw over a really nice coat and perhaps...
Over your pajamas.
Over the pajamas and a nice pair of sunglasses.
Yes.
And you look great, they give tips for... going out for drinks after work, or tips for weekend walks in the park. And your face, Debbie, I know it sounds like such a waste of time, but it's something that is essential in my world.
Okay, that's why you're here, because I can't talk about these things. It
So, for example,
doesn't exist in my world. Even though I like looking nice, obviously.
Yes, but look, I'll give you a small tip for a walk in the park. Something I would never have thought of myself, and I do have this in my wardrobe, would be to throw in a long linen white shirt dress with a big brown buckle around the waist.
Like a belt?
A belt, yes. A buckle, excuse me, a big brown belt with a big buckle around the waist, some loafers, and a small little...
See, I wouldn't even know what a loafer is.
Okay, my God, you're related. Again, in a pair of sunglasses, a little jacket, and here's a nice little tip.
Yeah.
Do you know there's... Do you know there's a difference if you wear your jacket, with each arm in the hole?
Or
the same jacket but a different look, which is a lot more powerful. You just throw the jacket over your shoulders.
But then it keeps falling off.
But Debbie, that's part of being stylish. You got to learn how to balance it on your shoulders.
That's so tiresome.
It's very Anne Winter kind of look. It's tiresome, but it's powerful. Go into a meeting, going to a cocktail party, wear the jacket just over your shoulders, changes your look completely.
Even women with significant fronts can carry that look.
Even.
I'm not sure. It sounds as if it's going to even...
No, as long as your shoulders are held up high, head up high too, and
so tiring.
It's tiring, but you know what? It's so worth it. You become memorable.
Shop? I know, I'm memorable. Okay, now tell us, where do you shop?
Okay.
For yourself.
I love Zara. I think Zara has some classic pieces. I won't buy too many. I will buy some classic pieces that I know I can wear often. I will... Oh, and by the way, Zara and H&M, which was another... place where I like to shop, I won't necessarily buy their quick off the line,
like the most recent arrivals,
recent, but they actually, all these brands have, some people don't know this, but they actually have a higher priced products that most people won't really buy because they're more expensive than the usual price range. So for example, H&M, you will look through, like, say, the skirts, and suddenly you'll find a couple of skirts that are not selling for £12 or £20. They'll be selling for £60 or £80. Most people won't buy it because you don't go to H&M to spend all that money. But this is their higher end line. So if I want to buy a skirt from there, I know most people who buy at H&M probably won't be walking around with the same skirt.
Is that a concern of yours?
It's not really a concern. I think everybody carries clothes very differently. But again, it's nice to have something that's
more unique.
More unique.
Okay, so you would buy the more expensive skirt, for example, and it's better quality.
It's better quality. So again, if it's something that I wanted to last for a long time, I don't really like so much the idea of buying something that I'm only going to wear for this summer. I'm not perfect. That does happen.
Not to mention that it's bad for the environment.
It is very bad for the environment.
There's a whole lot of other issues related to, to fast fashion, as we know.
Exactly. So, and on that point,
exploitation in the
global warming, in everything.
That's why that's another reason I buy a lot of secondhand, I must say.
Yeah, but also I recycle a lot of my clothes. Now, a lot of the fashion houses from Zara to H&M, if I'm not mistaken,
take them back.
You can actually they have bins where you can go and just throw in all your clothes in there and they get recycled.
I don't know if you have this in the UK, but in Israel, you can take a bag of clothing to H&M and you get a voucher of I think it's 20 shekels off, okay, for every purchase that you make over a certain amount. I think it's if you buy something for over 150 shekels and you use that voucher, you can buy it for 130 shekels. I think those are the numbers. I don't remember correctly, which is very nice. And I read, and I hope that they do that, is that they actually sort through those bags and whatever they can use again for their own clothing, they do. Okay, they reuse the material, and what they don't, I think some of it goes towards industries, that actually need pieces of clothing for different industries.
Yeah.
So it all gets used one way or another, which is really nice.
But also, when you buy wisely and you buy like a couple of good pieces that last for a long time, and your wardrobe is not overflowing with clothes, it actually saves you a lot of time and headache. Because when I have to get ready, I don't have all the time in the world. As I said, I'm a mom to 3 small kids. Half the time they run in the bedroom or they need me for something and I have 4.5 minutes to get ready. At this point, I open my cupboard and I just don't know where anything is.
Isn't it easier just if everything is black?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now I'm trying to reduce my wardrobe and just keep it to, as I said, basic outfits that I can just accessorize it. It's about organizing the wardrobe in that way, seeing what you have, being able to pull out, these pair of trousers with that jacket and this top, matching shoes, handbag, let's go. That is kind of where I'm headed to at the moment, and it is saving me so much time. So I really, really suggest that as a huge tip.
Are you also mostly in flats?
Almost all the time. I wear flats and trainers.
Mm-hmm.
I love certain pairs of trainers. I find they can be really styling. Today, it's so accepted to wear really fancy dress with trainers. Mm-hmm. And the highest heels I will probably wear are kitten heels. You look very confused.
What is that?
Kitten heels are very tiny heels. It's about...
Thick ones or very thin ones?
No, they can be thin ones. I think it's about 2 centimeters, if I'm not mistaken. 10 centimeters, excuse me, if I'm not mistaken. There will be moments I'll wear higher heels.
More when you go out at night.
If I go out and we're going to a restaurant, yes, I'll wear my high heels. But I won't necessarily wear it if we're going to go out for standing in a long period of time, because I find it uncomfortable, and it's almost... I think kind of going out of fashion, maybe. I'm scared to say that because I know a lot of people do love high heels still, but maybe it's with age as well. As I grow up, it's going out of fashion.
It's an age thing. Yeah,
I didn't want to say that.
And it's bad for your back at the end of the day. So,
Yeah, but if you can pull it off, my gosh.
Yeah, it does look nice, obviously. Yeah. Now, tell me, for your kids, you also buy those chains that you mentioned, Zara, H&M, mostly?
Yes. I definitely don't spend a lot of money on fashion for my children.
Because they grow out of the clothes so quickly.
Very, very quickly. Also, they use a school uniform. So the amount of times they actually wear their clothes is very little during the weekend. I have a good friend. She's based in Paris. She has a business where, and I think she's super clever, her clients, people like me, drop off bags and bags of all our children's used, pre-loved branded clothing. So from anything
Pre-loved?
Pre-loved, pre-owned, pre-loved, loved, pre-owned.
Okay,
I don't know the
no, I've never heard of that term. Okay.
So, for example, dresses that my kids wore that we absolutely loved them in for special occasion, but it has to be a high brand, be it like Petit Bateau, Jacquardie, Baby Dior, anything that's obviously not.
So you drop it off.
Drop it off, and then she sells it for you online. She has an online shop. She photographs all the items of clothes,
and you get money for it.
And you get a good
on consignment, obviously.
Yes.
If it's not sold, you don't get anything.
Well, if she doesn't sell, or if she notices there's there might be a stain on it, she will donate it to charity. But otherwise, I find that's really, really good. So sometimes if I do want to buy my children a branded skirt, I will...
Would you buy from her as well?
Oh, I do. Absolutely do. When I do need something, I will buy from her.
From when you're in Paris?
From when I'm in Paris, but you can buy it online as well. She does deliver. I find that very, very clever. And to be honest with you, I know her clients, and these are all very well-to-do wealthy people.
They take care of their clothes.
They take care of their clothes, and they take care of their money, and they're environmentally conscious. So it's really becoming quite the trend.
So that's a very good tip, actually.
Yes.
Because for kids, we tend to either if we have families or neighbors that you can get clothes and you can give clothes, like hand-me-downs. I do that, obviously. But I never really have anybody to get clothes from my eldest son, because he's like the eldest out of everybody. So my other son, he gets his clothes often, although he's now becoming so huge himself that he needs his own everything. But
I think people shouldn't shy away from handing clothes over to each
I think
other.
it's amazing.
It's amazing.
I love doing that, and I love donating if I can, and I wish there was someone that I could get clothes from. Doesn't happen often, unfortunately. Also, I have teenagers. It's a bit different, I think.
Yeah, and I know that also in London, if you don't want to, for example, recycle the clothes, you can also donate to a lot of charities. Research organizations.
Oh, here as well.
Yeah, so you can just literally go and drop off at different community service, community groups and centers. So there's always that option. And
okay, so I want to ask something a little bit kind of related about, as we said, you really know how to look great in photographs. Can you give us some secrets of taking photos and editing them?
Well, thank you, Debbie. I do love photography. It is an absolute passion of mine. I love photographing people at certain moments in their lives. And I use two small tricks, actually. One is framing picture. A lot of people make the mistake when they'll take a photograph of somebody and you won't really see the background of where they're at. So it's just a photograph of somebody's face, and they'll say, oh, this is our holiday in Morocco. Yeah, really? I don't see Morocco in your photo. Whereas when I will tend to photograph the background as well. I find that very important. So
as a person.
Of course, as well as a person. So that photograph needs to tell a story.
So in other words, you're saying, and I learned that from you actually, and I do it when I can, is the photos need to be staged a little bit to be really good.
They need to be staged, but when I photograph, I'm so used to it now, I don't need time to stage it.
Yeah, but you tell your kids, go to the right, go to the left, stand here like that, like this. I mean, you do tell your people,
yes,
your crew, you do direct them.
I do direct them. So I direct them in the sense of where I know the light will hit them really quickly, where the light will hit them really well, making them look, a little bit, brighter in that aspect. And they've known to react quite quickly. But as I said, when I photograph, especially during fashion events or street fashion or holidays, you will always see in the frame where we're at. It has to tell the story. So if we
don't get too close up, in other words.
No, not too close up. And close up is a portrait photograph. Unless you want a specific portrait, then go for a portrait. But if you want to tell a story of where you're at, make sure you've got the background, and make sure your background looks good. Avoid having
people like walking.
This is not really nice, but I'm saying you will very seldom, you'll find me taking a photograph and publishing of badly dressed people in the background.
But you can always edit them out.
And redress them.
No, you can edit them out. I mean, there are apps for that.
Or I keep the background nice and clear, or I make sure that somebody who's a local, who's wearing local clothes, walks right happens to walk in the background, I'll snap it right there. I will.
Is it legal to take photos of other people?
But you won't see their face. No.
Okay.
I will. No, when it's blurry, it's far away. You can't really see. So my photos, I like to tell a story.
And we take photos of yourself.
I
first of
will-
all, I know that you've trained your eldest daughter, Sienna,
Yes.
to take good photos from a very early age. She's
Yes.
been like your little mini-me. And she comes with you to all sorts of events.
Yes.
And she takes photos of you for your Instagram.
Yeah, so one of my tricks is never just stand facing the front when you're facing the camera. When you just stand there, you just kind of look like a
You look
statue.
lost.
You look lost. You look like
Yeah, that's what I
somebody.
tell everybody when they say, let's take a photo, and they all stand like this.
They'll-
And I always
yeah.
say, no, let's do something. Let's either sit or let's turn. Let's like do something like,
What I normally do is, I don't know if you've ever been in that situation where you are on holiday or there's a family of tourists come and quickly run up to you and say, can you please take a family photo of us? And this is the moment I actually really enjoy.
Yeah.
So I will snap the family while they're still getting ready for that photograph. So while the mom puts the handbag down, the little boy ties his shoe, and the dad is about to sneeze, and that's the moment I'll photograph.
but that's not the kind of photo they want to keep from the holiday.
And then afterwards, once they're in their position, I will take their, holiday photograph. And when I see when they're looking through the camera, they all burst out laughing at the unposed photo. And you know what? Chances are that's probably the one that's going to be framed and put up
published.
and published.
Yeah.
Just because it tells a story. It
Yeah.
shows the reality. It's exciting. It's funny.
And tell me, what about if you're taking a selfie or somebody's taking a photo of you, like your daughter? How do you stand so you look the best? you
Okay,
know?
there's a couple of tricks. As I said, don't just stand there. Firstly, always turn yourself a little bit, like I always say, about 45 degrees. Is that correct?
With your shoulders?
Yeah. Point your shoulder first more towards the camera and then bring almost that blue steel kind of look. Okay. But
Ben
yeah,
Stiller.
but when you are sideways, you look thinner. Not that body image is an issue, but it just looks
Yeah, we all want to look
we all want to
good.
look a little bit slimmer
Yeah.
in a photo, and you never press your arm against your body because that widens your arm. So either
Another thing is to stand, if you're standing with people, to also stand in the middle and not on the side.
yeah, it depends. If everybody's so much taller than you are, you don't, which is my case most of the time. You don't want to throw the
So you do stand on the side.
Yeah, it depends.
And then you stand
and you put your
sideways.
hand on your hip, or at least
And your leg?
no, your leg. You can.
Yeah, you don't like do like a pose with a leg or something.
Not necessarily. I mean, I'll
know.
focus more on your arm, that it's not flat against the rest of your body. So either hold it out a little bit or put it on your hip. And I think it's always best to photograph, especially when it's me. You'll often see me walking in a photo. Just because I find when you are looking busy, it's sexier, it's more attractive
Than just standing.
than just standing. So I have a photograph which was taken a couple of years ago. I was walking down Avenue Montaigne in Paris, and I absolutely loved that road. It looked really beautiful. And I asked somebody to photograph me at that point, and I didn't want to
Somebody,
just...
you mean just like somebody on the street, like a bystander or like a...
Yeah, I think it was just somebody who was shopping, and I was like, do you mind taking a quick photo, please? And yeah, it's
Only you.
Yeah, only me. I don't know,
Okay.
many people are doing
Take
that
my
these
phone,
days.
take a photo of me.
Yeah.
And it wasn't somebody that you knew that if they knew how to even take a good photo.
Exactly. But I knew how I can pose so that even if I just take only one shot, it will possibly be okay. So I will often say, please make sure you get my shoes in. When you tell somebody to get the shoes in, they will think they need to they make sure the shoes in. But actually what I'm trying to say is you're framing your whole body and you're getting the background
And
in.
how's that photo?
It's beautiful because I'm walking down the road and I'm carrying my handbag and
It's like almost like an action shot.
it's an action shot. So while I'm carrying and walking down the road, I'm swinging the handbag and I'm wearing big sunglasses and I'm looking up and I'm smiling at the bird. I don't know, whatever is.
The sun.
Exactly. And that's the moment that photo is taken with Avenue Montaigne behind me. Now, when I published this photo, so many people wrote back saying, oh, wow, it's so fantastic. Look at you. You are in Paris. You're living the high life. You're in this fashion world. And in actual fact, I think I was just walking through that road. I wasn't actually doing any fashionable event. But because of the background and the way I was carrying myself in the photo,
And that you were walking.
and I was walking and looking busy,
And not standing.
it created an illusion of, wow, she's styling it. Voila.
That's a very, very good tip. Okay, so that's a bit of secrets. Oh, and what about editing? Tell us the apps you use to make the photos a bit,
Yes.
lighter, different. It's mainly lighting issues,
It's mainly
right?
light, yes. I prefer, I use an app in Photoshop, just helps create,
In Photoshop?
and on the phone. You can have and it's called Lightenary.
It's not Photoshop.
No, but it's through Photoshop. Is it through Photoshop? The ones
Lightroom? And what about Lightroom?
the Lightroom.
Lightroom, that's what
That's
it is. It's
That's
Adobe.
it. Yes,
Adobe Photoshop.
There you
yes,
go. You
yes,
see,
yes.
one of us knows the
But
technical
you showed me
issues.
another one, Lens or something.
Lensa as well is a really good one. It it kind of removes all
Wrinkles.
wrinkles. It kind of I don't. It smooths
It's
out.
a bit of a filter.
It is a filter. Look, normally I like to go with the natural, to be quite honest with you. I will not necessarily Photoshop any of my photos. I like to just play with the light. I think when the light is bright, it attracts the eye. It's a happier feeling. The photo tells more of a story because you can see more detail. If I'm ever doing a close-up, which is quite rare, because I'm not... I don't believe in photographing too much of myself. I like myself in an action to tell a story.
With the whole body.
Yes, because it tells a story.
As opposed to me. I prefer my face and my body. Yeah.
You see, 'cause I consider myself a storyteller. I like my photos
The art
to
of
tell.
storytelling, it's like a big thing in the world today.
Exactly.
People pay a lot of money to hear a story. to hear-
Exactly. So
stories.
so you'll very seldomly find a photograph published of me where you just see my face.
Yeah,
so I
that's
don't.
true.
It's not really. I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about where I am, what I'm
whole story.
experiencing. Just to share that with the world. So, as I said, I will hardly ever Photoshop anything in my photos. As I said, I might Photoshop certain little elements if there's like a rubbish bin suddenly I didn't notice in the background of a photograph. I might just pop it out, but that's about it.
And how can our listeners follow you?
Oh, so they can follow me on Instagram, which is Paris Popcorn. And
You also have a website.
I have a
or
website.
a blog or what?
Yeah,
how do you know
by
how
the
you
same
call it?
name, www.parispopcorn.com. It's not as active as my Instagram site is yet.
You're working on it.
I am working on it. Anybody who is a parent and knows how exhausting and full-time being a parent can be.
Three little ones as well.
Yeah, it's a bit tiring. So to find time in the evening to actually upload articles and photos, I sometimes say I'll do that one day when I have the time. Otherwise, it's all on Instagram. So you can follow me there. You can contact me. I'll happily answer you as soon as I can.
What kind of things that you actually do for work?
Yes.
That if you want to say in a couple of words.
Okay, so I've been writing articles about what to wear, what to see, what to do, culture-wise, fashion-wise, for magazines around the world. My articles get published.
Normally all together with your photos as well.
With my photos. So that's been always wonderful when magazines do reach out and say, hey, there's an event happening in London or in Paris. Could you cover it for us? We'll have it translated.
And also get your unique perspective on it.
Exactly that. And also...
I've done also sponsorships, with stories. And
I've done stories with
brands.
I know with some luxury brands from Switzerland, and I've done a couple of different other ones.
And voiceovers as well.
Exactly. Oh, you're my PR, Debbie. Yes, I've done lots of voiceovers for TV commercials, for some short films.
Because your accent is quite multinational.
Yeah, I'm pretty versatile with that. And it's something I absolutely love. As I said, I love communicating. I love talking. It's really, really hard to shut me up. So give me a microphone anytime.
Yeah, there you go. You have one. We're almost talking for an hour now.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, I can believe it.
Yes. And I used to do, as you know, a lot of television hosting and live event hosting. I love crowds. I love the adrenaline. I'm not somebody who shies away from that.
And the camera loves you. I mean, it's a love story.
It is. Oh, I like that.
It is a love story between you and the camera ever since you were little, I must say.
Yes.
And again, as opposed to me, I shy away from cameras, although I've done that as well. But for work, but I don't love it. You do love it, and you do it really, really well, and you really come alive. When you're reporting, and you love all these things.
Thank you. I think it's just basically down to the fact that I love communication. I love it so much. So when I have any platform,
and you have the eye to spot the things that I wouldn't see, for example, in any situation. So there you go.
Thank you, big sister.
A pleasure. Okay, so I think we can wrap up, and we can say that I think we gave our listeners a few tips on how to be more, how to be socialites, but
on a budget.
Kind of on a budget, and to make it look great on Instagram, because, that's the world. And I'd like to thank you, and also for everything that you did for me today.
On your birthday.
Yes. And I'm curious to see how this episode will turn out.
Oh, this has been so much fun, and I am so happy to be here in Israel.
And maybe we'll even do like a whole podcast one day. We'll have to think of an idea. But I think there's a lot that we can say. We have to think if we want to say it, for the whole world to hear.
Yes.
There's a lot of stories, but we'll see. We'll think about it.
Anytime. I am your biggest fan.
Oh, me too, yours. Thank you very much. And we'll say bye, and to our listeners, and to you, even though we're going to go now and do some other thing with the kids.
Dinner.
Yeah, make dinner.
Can I say goodbye with the South African accent?
Oh, in whatever accent you want. You can do a few even.
Okay, bye.
Enough French.
Au revoir, merci beaucoup de m'avoir écouté ce soir.
Ooh.
Je suis très, très heureux.
In other accents, other languages?
Bueno,
Spanish.
Mira, por ahora creo que hablamos demasiado y ya llegó la hora de decir chao y muchas gracias a todo el mundo.
Oh, qué lindo.
Sí.
Yeah, we are such multinational sisters. Okay, bye.
Bye, להתראות.
להתראות. Au revoir. ובחזרה לעברית, תודה רבה לכם על ההאזנה לפרק המיוחד הזה. אם יש לכם שאלות או נושאים אחרים הקשורים לניהול כלכלי או לניהול מידע אישי או מידע עסקי שתרצו שאסביר בפרק עתידי בפודקאסט, אז אתם יכולים למלא את השאלון המצורף לסיכום של הפרק. תמציאו שם, תרשמו את השאלה שלכם, אני בטוחה שאחרים גם יוכלו ללמוד מהתשובה שאתן, ואתם כמובן תקבלו מענה לסוגיה שמעניינת או מטרידה אתכם. וניתן ליצור עמי קשר ישירות לגבי ייעוץ, ליווי או הרצאות בנושאים בהם אני עוסקת דרך האתר שלי או העמודים שלי בפייסבוק האישי או העסקי. פשוט חפשו המתקצבת ותגיעו מהר. לינק לאינסטגרם של אחותי נירית מופיע גם בסיכום, בנוט של הפרק, דרכו ניתן גם ליצור עמה קשר. מה עוד? אשמח מאוד אם תעקבו אחרי הפודקאסט שלי כדי לקבל התראות על פרקים חדשים ולא לפספס שום דבר. ואם אתם מאזינים דרך ספוטיפיי, אז ניתן לדרג את הפודקאסט שם. אשמח לקבל כמובן דירוג גבוה, 5 כוכבים, 4 כוכבים. וגם באפל, אם אתם מאזינים דרך אפליקציית הפודקאסטים של אפל, אז גם שם ניתן גם לדרג ואפילו לכתוב ריוויו. אשמח כמובן לריוויו טוב וחיובי. אז תודה רבה וביי.